Hey guys, J-Games here again. This is going to be what if Takemichi was like Shinichiro Sano. Shinichiro's the older brother of Mikey, and Shinichiro's always compared, or Takemichi always compared to Shinichiro, but now I read between the wiki pages of Shinichiro and Takemichi. Shinichiro was vastly cooler than Takemichi despite being awfully similar. Like Shinichiro was able to lead a gang and gain respect of other gangs, while Takemichi didn't really gain respect of other gangs. It was just, his name was known. Like Saki, Izuna, all of them knew who Takemichi was, but I don't think any of them respected him at all. Well, Shinichiro also had the respect of other gangs. It's the point where like gangs get together as bike shop and not fight. Like Shinichiro was that kind of person. Like he garnered that kind of respect and reputation despite everyone knowing he's weak as all hell. So you can see how this would have an impact. And plus, if you read the manga, if you're currently caught up to it, a lot of stuff would happen. Well, the stuff that did happen would not happen because Takemichi is like Shinichiro. But I'm not gonna make him some like overpowered fighter like I do usually. But like he'll try to fight, but he won't be any good at it. Like he's gonna be horrible. But yeah, Takemichi as a teenager, well, he's just kind of the same. But as an adult, he became more humble, and he realized that he had to stop apologizing for every little thing. And he kind of like gained like the whole thing with Shinichiro. Like he was a very, 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 very respectable and yes, honorable person. But eventually, we go on to basically when Takemichi would be sent to the past. More or less, it goes the same way, but we go to the Kiyomasa incident. But Takemichi, as a teenager, kept his hair down, but it was still blonde. But Takemichi, well, more or less, like he still has to fight Kiyomasa. I'm just say that, but I just wanted to go on his hairstyle real quick because I hate his original hairstyle a lot. I do. Also, Shinichiro was tall as all hell. He was as tall as Draken. So Takemichi, this one's going to be more on the same height as Draken. So yeah, I like matching his height with the canonical characters or whoever he's close as, because I think it just fits the character a little bit more and actually would but fall in line with Takemichi's intimidating fighting style that he usually gets. But in this one, he's just tall as all hell. Takemichi currently is he's the second of Miso Middle. But still, he's a lot more humble as he's in the past currently. And he's actually decently intelligent. Like, he's pretty dumb at times, but he's, like, average intelligence to the point where we can, like, see that this is more than memory. It's probably him, like, he hopes it's not him living the life again and he has to redo life. But at the time, he hopes it is. So, yeah. But Takemichi, when he does come across Kiyomasa tries to, like, punch them down and hits Takemichi in the face. Takemichi realizing that he shouldn't just get his ass beat and live the same life if this is really him going through life again. But as he's falling, he grabs Kiyomasa by the collar and hits Kiyomasa right in the face as hard as he can. Kiyomasa isn't really like stunned by this, but it is a decent imprint on his cheek. Kiyomasa spits out a bit of blood, saying, "Oh, so you do have some strength behind you." Takemichi then hits Kiyomasa a few more times, but Kiyomasa pummels Takemichi and saying that he's weak as all hell, but somewhat respectable. As Kiyomasa keeps pummeling Takemichi just basically kind of has a flashback saying that Kiyomasa may kill him here. But then he says he refuses to die here at the hands of some scum like Kiyomasa. Then dodges one of the punches of Kiyomasa going behind him and being like choking Kiyomasa out. With this, he gets revenge on Kiyomasa in this immediate moment. This Kiyomasa hits the ground unconscious, and Takemichi rolls out from under him. Well, not under, he's on top of Kiyomasa, but it's off of him. He shares down the rest of Kiyomasa's men, picking up Kiyomasa's weapon. Then the rest of Kiyomasa's men, hitting some of them in the sides or over the head with it. Like, he's not really too strong, so it hurts, but not a lot. Let him be ganged up on by Kiyomasa's men, but it's enough for his friends to actually gang up on some of the guys. He's gonna beat them up. It led to more of a stalemate, with Takemichi having a backbone as an adult, instead of being a cocky little arrogant brat as a teenager. Akun Kanoba laughed at Takemichi, saying, "So you really beat Kiyomasa? You really beat him yourself?" Takemichi holds out his hand, saying, "Please help me up, I think I'm gonna die." Akun, Yamagishi, and Yamamoto pick up Takemichi, with Takuya being Yamamoto. No, not Takuya's Yamamoto, but everyone picks up Takemichi besides Yamamoto because he's frail as all hell. They pick up Takemichi and begin throwing him in the air, kind of parading him around, saying, "We beat Kiyomasa!" Takemichi says, "You guys didn't beat him, I did." And eventually they keep parading him around. Eventually they come across the Shibuya bus and they hear, "We beat Kiyomasa!" And the the second year students run to their school, seeing Kiyomasa unconscious in the middle of the ground, and then tons of blood around the area. Takemichi is panting, saying, "Please stop parading me around, I'm getting dizzy." They drop him and they catch him, saying, "Alright then, where should we go to celebrate? Takemichi would decide, saying, "Please take me home." They've been dragging me away, and well, then passing Mikey and Draken. Well, Mikey cannot help but see a resemblance between this random stranger and Shinichiro. Even the way he's acting towards his friends, well, it seems to gain respect. Eventually, when Kiyomasa would wake up, with his friends helping him, or no, his friends with second years picking him up, they ask what happened, and says, "This sticky bastard choked me out." And the second years asks about the fight, and Kiyomasa tells him the whole truth. Like, he's beating up this kid who got like a sucker punch in on him. Not a sucker punch, but a good punch in. But eventually he's able to dodge Kiyomasa's punch, which allowed him to get on top of Kiyomasa and choking him out. Kiyomasa couldn't help but acknowledge that was a really good move. Like, Kiyomasa's like lackeys even say that Kiyomasa was pretty lame for that. But he says that none of them had the brains to do that. That kid actually just knew how to fight. Or he assumes that Takemichi just watched a lot of anime and then got it. Watched a lot of delinquent anime, and Rear Naked Chokehold was something he memorized. So, yeah. But, Takemichi eventually does go to Hina's house when he's somewhat recovered. And, well, Hina says, "Takemichi, did you fight?" He's not saying, "Yeah, but I won at least." Hina actually hugs Takemichi, saying, "Who'd you fight?" Takemichi then says, "A few second years. Not second years, a few third years." Hina's jaw drops, saying, "No way you beat second years." Not saying, "Oh, no, there's no way you beat third years." Takemichi couldn't but laugh, saying, "But I did, and I won, so I'm cool now." Hina couldn't help but hug Takemichi even more, saying, "You're always cool." That Takemichi would just be in talking to Hina for a bit, then he leaves, going to say hi to Naoto. Not going to say hi, but just comes across him. But Naoto's being bullied by these three kids. He punches one of them right in the face as hard as he can. This is that kid heads to the ground and punches the other two in the face, saying, "Don't ever touch him again. He's my brother-in-law." It was a kind of joke, like him wanting to marry Hina, because he did actually want to marry Hina as an adult. He thought about it even more, like, if me and Hina were still dating, I would be an idiot not to propose to her. And not just use like what do you mean brother-in-law? Inferring marriage, and he says, "Wait, are you Hina's boyfriend Takemichi?" He nods, putting a thumbs up, and now she's like, "Well, you're bigger than she said you were." Takemichi towers over 4'10" now, so like Takemichi's 6 foot, same height as Draken, and then we have Naoto, who's 4'10", or Draken's 6'1", so he's an inch shorter than Draken, but still pretty tall. But yeah. Now with this, eventually Naoto and Takemichi just begin talking. Takemichi tells him about Hina's death at this time, and with that, Takemichi and Naoto shake hands as he leaves, at least. And Naoto actually, he didn't really call it at the time, but Takemichi being so charismatic and actually a very believable person who's actually respectable, he believes even more to the point where he'll protect Hina even if it costs him his life. Yes, he may hate his sister, or say he hates his sister. He'll protect Hina's life at any cost, just because Takemichi was so nice and caring for his sister. And now his goal isn't to be like his father, it's to be better than his father could ever be. But then Takemichi would arrive in the future. He ends up talking to future Naoto. That kind of goes the same way. A lot of the future interactions will go the same way. It's just Takemichi is not a crybaby. He's not a crybaby. He's the complete opposite. He refuses to let people see him cry because, well, he thinks of it as pretty weak. He does acknowledge all he's done as an adult in his early life is apologize or cry. He doesn't do any of that anymore. He refuses to apologize for something he doesn't need to apologize for. But it's the past again. In the past, he's kind of in a fight rink. But Kiyomasa. It's like she just knows one thing, his hair's black again. He's like, "Oh, thank God, I hated the blonde hairstyle." It's Takemichi, knowing he's on fight, doesn't just get beat up and pull out his phone and get beat up. First punch he dodges and then picks up the guy, or tries to. He doesn't really do too well, but he's able to slam the guy in his head. But it wasn't a high slam, but still. The guy got something in his back, "Oh, damn it." But Takemichi grabbed him by the throat and is hitting him in the face as hard as he can. When he's done the guy eventually is just "Fine, I lose. It's actually strangling him while hitting him in the face. But it's not random delinquent, it doesn't even matter at all, he's not even strong. Beating Takemichi is not an impressive feat. It's not. He only just fights strong guys, it's really it. It's just, you pair him up against a strong random person, well not strong, but pair him up against a random person, he'll get his ass beat, honestly. But still, he's able to beat the random delinquent. Ethan says, "Alright then, where am I?" He turns around, saying it's a fighting rink. Kiyomasa happened to have the choke mark around his neck. And then says, "Alright, Hanagaki, good job. But now, I'm the final boss." Takemichi stares down at who just beat up and was Kiyomasa's right-hand man. Also picked up his bat and ran at Takemichi. Takemichi just basically took every single hit that was landed. Eventually, as he got pushed to the sides, well, in his hand, this led to actually Akun dropping in a Swiss, I guess a Swiss Army knife. Takemichi isn't going to stab Kiyomasa with it. Instead, when he dodges one of Kiyomasa's attacks, he just keeps the blade folded, but hits Kiyomasa right in the neck with it as hard as he can. Makes Kiyomasa going to step back a bit. Takemichi tackles Kiyomasa, and then actually converts Kiyomasa in a chokehold again, but Kiyomasa doesn't know how to escape it, so he just falls for the end and is choked out. Takemichi then kicks Kiyomasa off of him, saying, "Alright then, give me an ice pack, please." He goes over to Akun and says, "I did not expect you to do that to him, but whatever works for you." Then throws to Akun, saying, "Were you to ask me to kill him?" And Akun says, "I was worried if you didn't do it, he would kill you." Takemichi then punches Akun in the face, saying that Akun is disgraceful for even telling him to do something like that. Akun is an excuse of a delinquent for telling him to kill someone who's just taking a fight a little too far. Now with that, he tells Akun that if he ever suggests something like that again, he'll leave Mizo Middle. Now, some of the gangsters around there even began clapping that Takemichi's speech. He's a very charismatic and honorable person. Kiyomasa woke up around 10 minutes later, and some guys are even offering Takemichi sodas, candy, chips, everything. Goes to ask what's going on there, and they say that Kiyomasa fought dishonorably while Takemichi fought honorably. He was offered a knife to kill Kiyomasa, but he only used it as just a blunt object, not as a knife. He also realized Takemichi could have killed him at any time, but he didn't. He also couldn't help but bow to Takemichi for being an honorable person. He hated it, but it was true. He was being an honorable person. Something that Kiyomasa would have, if he was given a knife, he would have killed Takemichi. He would have opened the knife and stabbed Takemichi right in the head, or right in the neck or something, but then Takemichi's asking what is happening. In reality, he's just a very honorable person. Now, this actually more or less leads to some of the guys actually wanting to follow Takemichi, and Kiyomasa says that a lot of those guys actually lost faith in Kiyomasa, so, just as payment to Takemichi for being a bad person, he offers up the Shibuya Award to Takemichi. Takemichi would nod, saying then he accepts. With this, he sits down as Akun then throws a jacket over Takemichi, being a third-year jacket. It says Takemichi's acting a little too much older than his age. But this shows that he's maturing, and this jacket is a sign of maturity, as it's for upperclassmen. People have matured more than they have. Takemichi would nod, saying that he knows someone who could make the jacket a little bit cooler. So, pause real quick. Alright, where was I? Takemichi was able to somewhat garner all the favor. Everyone, all the guys that were at the fighting arena, they all respect Takemichi for not killing Kiyomasa whenever, because he had the chance for the whole fight when he got the knife. He had the chance to kill him. He chose to be an honorable person and not murder him. So, this sort of gained garners respect, and, the following of these few dozen gangsters. Or delinquents, but, yeah. Now with this, Takemichi does eventually end up, we see some past, not extra, but for another day, Mikey and Draken arrive, but only seeing the fights more or less happening. But then when the money's garnered, they see the money isn't going, all of it isn't going to 3rd Division. Takemichi says that they should get some of it back, because this money isn't really used for a good purpose. So, Mikey and Draken approach Kiyomasa, and no one from Mizo Middle is bowing to them, they don't know who they are. Well, this isn't Mizo Middle now, it's the Mizo Middle gang. Takemichi's gonna get his uniform made by Mitsuya later. He's heard of Mitsuya because he's in Toman, so yeah. Eventually, Kiyomasa reveals he's not in charge of this delinquent group anymore. He points to Takemichi, saying he's the one in charge. He beat me in a fight. Mikey and Draken immediately recognize Takemichi due to Akun and Yamagishi and Momoto and Suzuki parading around him. Mikey and Takemichi begin talking, and when he stands up, Mikey and Draken are shocked at how big Takemichi is. They don't know that much people bigger or as big as Draken. So Mucho is the only person they know around Draken's size. But it's Kiyomasa. So yeah. But eventually with this, we have Takemichi, who would end up being just basically being very respectful to Mikey. Once he knows who he is. He didn't figure it out by himself. He was told who it was. Bows down to him, and he asks Mikey, why is he here? Mikey just says that he's here to collect the money for the 3rd Division, or for Toman in general. Takemichi says that they sold off Muscle Wolf, but gave a lot of the money away to different groups of people. Because he didn't know what else to do to the money, so charity was his first thought. Mikey just smiled, picking up the rest of the money. Then throwing a punch at Takemichi, which he barely was able to dodge. That's why Mikey punched at him, and Mikey had said, "This money's for Toman, not some random group of people, and Takemichi should apologize." Takemichi would stand up, saying he refuses to apologize for something he did right. Mikey then hits Takemichi in the face, and Takemichi just came up and laughed, saying, "Kill me if you want, I'm in the right." Mikey begins punching Takemichi. He's able to block a few of them, but he just accepts a beating from Mikey. As Mikey had stopped punching Takemichi, he had grabbed Mikey by the shirt and headbutted him right in the nose. Mikey's then falling down the stairs as he just lands on the ground, saying, "Damn it, that hurt." Draken then kicks Takemichi in the side, but Takemichi kicked Draken's foot out from under him, making Draken fall down the stairs as well. Takemichi stood up, saying he doesn't know whether to run in fear or fight out of anger. Akin says, "If you fight out of anger, you're going to die, but it would be more cool as well." Takemichi immediately yells, "Alright, everyone run!" And they all run. So with that, Takemichi is running as well, and he picks up a bat along the way, just to hide it, because he'd use it against Mikey. He needs to. As he just runs, he's panting and sweating, so eventually Mikey ends up catching up to him. As he goes for a punch, Takemichi would spin around, hitting Mikey right in the side with the bat. Mikey actually falls back, so Takemichi would keep running, and he just drives up with the bat, saying, "That weapon was so cowardly. I don't know why I used it." Kept running. Eventually he's able to somewhat jump a fence, and then hide somewhere. As he hides, he just stays there for a bit until Mikey and Draken are off his tail. Now with this, he realizes he's in a park, but Mikey and Draken didn't bother to look in the park. They only saw kids, not some string being hiding under a bench. So he comes up from under the bench, and sees Mitsuya playing in the park. Now Mitsuya was happening to laugh at Takemichi, saying, "So what'd you do to piss off Mikey and Draken?" As Mitsuya was able to know who Takemichi was in just one day from the rumor of him beating up Kiyomasa spread. And with this, Takemichi basically says that Mikey got mad at him for donating the money in his fight ring to charity. Mitsuya said, "Oh, what you donated to?" He says, "Kinda whatever I found." Mitsuya just laughs, saying, "Oh, Hanagaki, you're stupid." Now Mitsuya and Takemichi are basically being friendly because Mitsuya doesn't know Takemichi's a decent person. He's kind of pretty aware of that. Because, it was rumored that recently, because he beat Kiyomasa up without using a knife, it was somewhat, respectable, and then he's just a nice guy, so, yeah. Takemichi and Mitsuya being talking, as Mitsuya's sisters even want to know who Takemichi is, and he's pretty nice to them as well. And to Mitsuya just tell Takemichi that he should just join Toman to get off their bad side, or at least use his, following to, I guess, use his following and join Toman, or get in the good graces of Mikey and Draken. Takemichi would say if Mikey is so mad about him putting money to a good cause, he refuses to join Toman if Mikey is that bad of a person. But this one Mitsuya's like, "No, the money went to us so we could afford to, I guess, help our members out if they were in a bad situation." Takemichi does kind of like a charity, but only for you guys. Mitsuya would nod, saying, "Yep." Takemichi would sigh, feeling bad, pulling out a few bucks, giving it to Mitsuya. Mitsuya takes it, saying, I'll buy my sister something with this. I don't need it." Now this, Takemichi and Mitsuya been walking away, and this leads to Mikey and Draken running Takemichi with Mitsuya. Mitsuya holds his hand, saying, "No, don't worry, he's fine." This Mitsuya talks to Mikey and Draken about Takemichi basically donating the money to any cause, because he didn't know that Toman was a gang that... They didn't know what kind of people Mikey and Draken were. Takemichi would bow down apologizing, but it's something he hated doing. Because he did it so much previously, it was something that he despises. Draken could see that Takemichi was basically getting upset they had to bow, and asked Takemichi why. Takemichi would say that before he decided to change, he was just a coward who always bowed and apologized for no reason, even if he was in the right. If you just do that again, that's why he ran away from those two, instead of just apologizing outright. Now, Mikey and Draken immediately see Shinichiro and Takemichi, saying that Shinichiro would not bow down and apologize for something he did wrong, and he actually hated to do so. That Mikey actually kneels down and tells Takemichi he's willing to forgive him if he joins Toman. Mikey had appeared nostalgia wants Takemichi in the gang. Takemichi would say, "Sure." He stands up, and Draken says, I'll never be some random guy being as tall as me. So Takemichi just laugh. And with this, well, they join Toman. Well, he joins Toman. But he does say that Ken's following joined Toman if they weren't already in it. Mikey says sure. And the next day, he tells his group that they're all in Toman now. That they all smile, and Mitsuya would walk up to them, and they all bow saying, like, second in command, or second division leader, Mitsuya, welcome here. Takemichi and Mitsuya high five, and Mitsuya then throws Takemichi a Toman jacket, saying, here. Takemichi would put it on, saying thanks, and she asks Mitsuya how his sisters are doing. Mitsuya says, fine. After that, he then throws Akun and the rest of the middle jackets, saying that they don't have jackets yet. Like, if you don't have jackets yet, they have to earn them. But then the meeting at this time, they should just wait till then. And Takemichi shake hands with Naoto again later, and then he's back to the future. Pause one more time. Forgot where I was, but I remember Mitsuya basically telling everyone that didn't have Toman uniforms yet, saying that they have to prove that they were the Toman uniforms. They have a meeting in this amount of time. So, so Mizo middle and Takemichi got their Toman uniforms. So Takemichi does eventually end up, he gets in a pretty important role, and, he's not really a fighter, and I keep on a thought on what Takemichi's role should be. He's a bad fighter. He assumes this, because Takemichi just basically ran away and snuck attack him, and then had to use, random tricks to get away from Mikey and Draken. Assuming if they're in front of confrontation, he'd be really bad at it. You just find a role that Takemichi could really be, a little more beneficial in. Which, the role that Draken actually asks about is advisor. Mikey doesn't know what that is, but just says, I don't know what it is, but you can have it. So Takemichi is Mikey's advisor now. So yeah. Eventually, we just fast forward a bit to Takemichi going on a date with Hina the next day. And he's still pulled out of class by Mikey and Draken, but he's with them, and he's wearing a Toman jacket. He wears it in classes, people more or less he walks in the school and people would hold out their Toman jacket or his Toman jacket and put it on him. So yeah. And he didn't notice any of this until she was in the hallway, and people bowed to Mikey and Draken, but they yelled good afternoon, Draken-san. Good afternoon, Mikey-san. Good afternoon, Takemichi-san. So yeah. So he was what did you get this popular? Takemichi says he beat up a third year and this happened. He beat up a third year twice and didn't kill him. The second time he was offered a knife and didn't kill the guy. Then he ran away from Mikey, but was able to get a few good hits in. So yeah, Mikey says you gotta get a few hits in from cowardly tactics. Takemichi says no difference. He puts a thumbs up, and Takemichi had to admit Mikey was right, but he just didn't want to say it out loud. The hug Takemichi, telling him a good job, and that his dream is coming true to be a strong delinquent, or a powerful one. It can either be in reputation, money, or power, or reputation, money, or raw physical power. And he's going the reputation route. So yeah. But eventually, we should go on to Takemichi. Well, at this point, Hina doesn't slap Mikey, and Mikey actually made a joke that Emma and Draken should go on a double date with Takemichi and Hina. Takemichi said he's open to it if Draken agrees. Draken's in a shock, saying, I'm not even dating Emma. Takemichi said, and how about a group hangout? Draken's a little confused, but he said, sure. Takemichi googled the next date or something, a nearest event that could happen soon. He said, alright then, August 3rd. How about that? Draken nodded, saying, sure, why not? Takemichi and Draken high five. And then, Mikey's now decided that he has no girlfriend. So, yeah. But eventually we can move on to, Takemichi going back to the future. And he finds out about Draken's death. But first he met Akun. Akun still died. And now he stopped the whole incident between Mobius and Toman. He did do a little bit more deep diving, but does still know that something might happen. So when they're in the warehouse, Takemichi is more or less asking Mikey, "Are you sure you want to fight them? Because something bad will happen if there's something does happen." Pacha means yelling at Takemichi, saying, "Wait, what are you talking about? Nothing bad will happen while I'm here." So by the way, if you guys are curious, the whole Emma thing, nothing happens. Takemichi's a loyal man, and he's still a brat, but he's a loyal man regardless. Takemichi and Emma never had that interaction. But we should go to Takemichi in the warehouse. So in the warehouse, Pachin's like basically trying to beat up Takemichi, but Mikey actually defends Takemichi a lot more due to him resembling Shinichiro so much in personality, in attitude, and as a person, just not physical appearance though. Now, Takemichi is somewhat able to like just basically just tell Pachin doesn't mean any harm, and Takemichi does say that if Pachin does actually want to fight, he won't back down. Pachin we have Takemichi to the collar. Takemichi she's just somewhat have his leg ready to kick Pachin right in the groin. Eventually, Pachin is kicked right in the groin as he falls to his knees, saying, "Oh, God damn it, you little coward!" And Takemichi says, "No, not really cowardly if you paid attention. It was a pretty obvious movement. My leg was somewhat I had my knee in the air. You should have seen it coming." So yeah, eventually Mobius would walk in. Well, Takemichi immediately just jumps behind Draken, saying, "I can't fight, so can you cover me?" Draken nodded, saying, "I'll try." And Mikey couldn't help but laugh at Takemichi being a coward. Mikey says, "So big, yet so much of a coward." Takemichi put a thumb out, saying, "Yup." He hated being called a coward due to just him being somewhat prideful. Both of this we led on to Mikey still looking at Osanai. Then this one changes. Someone tried to attack Mikey. Someone tried to attack Mikey from behind. Takemichi just jumped on them and just held them down. And basically told Mikey that he has his back. Mikey just smiled. Takemichi then jumped up, punched another guy in the face. It wasn't like a hard punch. The momentum had knocked the guy back a lot. The guy that Takemichi had basically held down got up, running to Takemichi, but Draken kicked him in the gut and then knocked him out. Pause one more time, sorry. So Takemichi basically began running around delivering fast punches people's faces, but he's not strong at all. Just his momentum is able to knock people back a little bit. But yeah. There's a decent amount of Mobius is pushed back, but not a lot. This does lead to Toman just leaving because the cops were called. And Pachin didn't really fight Osanai because he was on his knees after being kicked in the nuts by Takemichi. So, yeah. Takemichi helps Pachin up, even picking him up a bit, even though he's not really strong at all. But it's enough to get Pachin outside a decent distance away before Takemichi puts him down panting, saying, "Why are you so heavy?" Pachin says, "I'm fat, I'm an idiot, I don't know." So he says he's fat and still doesn't know his answer. So, yeah. But with this, I guess we can just move on to the future again. Takemichi does the same stuff he does in canon. Then we just go on to August 3rd. Now, on August 3rd, Takemichi was on the day with Hina. And he had an incident with Emma. Well, no, there's nothing between that. And Draken said, "Hey, Takemichi, what do you want to call us before? Like a double something?" Takemichi said, "Double date." Draken, it's obvious Emma's into you. And I can tell you're into her. So why don't you just two ask each other out? Emma and Draken immediately blushed. Takemichi picked up Hina and ran off immediately before Draken wanted to kill him. Takemichi kept running, saying, "Catch me if you can," and just kept running. Draken and Emma just sat there bright red, and Draken just said, "Want a prize or something?" She had nodded, and they just go on for there just being bright red. Eventually, Takemichi and Hina had gotten somewhere else, being a little private, and began doing a few things that 14-year-olds should not be doing. But eventually, this leads to Takemichi getting a call from Yamagishi. Then eventually, he does meet up with Mitsuya. And eventually, they have to go find Draken. And Draken was hit in the head with a bat. And Takemichi is more does realize that Draken bleeds from his head a lot. And sees a ton of guys bats, sticks, everything. But Takemichi sees Mitsuya and tells Mitsuya to leave and go get someone stronger than him at least. It's call Toman. Mitsuya nodded, asking if he's sure, and Takemichi said that he can take care of Draken, just go. Takemichi reaches in the trash can, pulling out a bottle, and then breaking it, saying, "Come at him." Takemichi is actually willing to kill for Draken currently, or kill so Draken will be safe. One guy ran at Takemichi, but thinking he wasn't about that life. Takemichi slashed his chest, and then stabbed him right in the leg. Guy jumped back, and Takemichi still held out the bottle, saying who's next. Takemichi picked up a baseball bat that was next to him, and then guys began running at Takemichi. He got the bottle, picked up a bat, another bat, and began just hitting people all around. But until one arrived, Takemichi's covered in blood and bruises, and just panting and sweating. But Mikey and never noticed there's a significant amount of people who dropped around Takemichi. Either they're covered in bruises from head to toe, or they try hitting the temple with a baseball bat as hard as Takemichi could muster and knock them out. But Takemichi holding out one bat, saying that he's not done yet, keep coming. Sending them there and Takemichi, but he just delivers a very swift hit to their gut, knocking them out. Eventually, he just drops the bat, passing out, and Mikey ends up catching Takemichi, saying, "Good job." The first one about Kiyomasa. Doesn't happen. Kiyomasa is loyal to Takemichi. 100% loyal. So, yeah. Okay, so we go on to, sorry, I add a chip real quick. So we basically go on to Mikey putting Takemichi to the side, and telling Baji to watch Takemichi. This is actually especially hurtful for Baji, because Takemichi resembles Shinichiro so much. And Mikey didn't know that it was probably a bad choice, but Baji was willing to protect Takemichi's life, because he resembles Shinichiro so much. And Baji, saying, anyone that comes near Takemichi will die. If you guys try to test that theory, and Baji almost kills a few people because of that. But in the battle, Takemichi wakes up. When he wakes up, seeing Kiyomasa holding some guy in place, but the guy had a knife in his hands. He's Draken on the ground, pretty badly beaten up, as people get gang up on him with baseball bats and hitting him all around. Takemichi stood up, running past Baji, and tackling the guy that had a knife away from Kiyomasa. Takemichi pulls the knife away from the guy that had it, and he holds the guy's neck, saying that he's going to kill him if he tries to do that cowardly shit again. Then throws those knives to the side, thinking Kiyomasa, and he stands up. Then he picks up a pipe, and begins hitting people across the face, left and right. Eventually he just falls to one knee, he's still covered in sweat, and Hina is actually very proud of Takemichi. The cowardly brash kid you once knew, actually somewhat matured and became a lot more kind, but also someone who's willing to lay down his life for other people. So yeah. That Draken helps Takemichi to his feet, so does Kiyomasa. With this, they help Takemichi to the side, and he just sits down on a wet bench. He hates it, but it's the best choice. Now with that, ambulance arrives, we can talk to Takemichi. And the thing is, he has 2 broken fingers and a lot of bruises. Draken needs a few staples on his head, and that's about it. So yeah. Eventually with this, Takemichi is kind of known as a delinquent legend due to him. Well, he just armed one guy, but did it in a way that's very unprofessional that could have led to him getting stabbed if he was any slower. He's pretty fast, but if he was any slower, he would have gotten stabbed most definitely. Which is him being lucky he was fast. He's able to pry a knife out of the guy's hands, but it was more or less exaggerated, and it led him becoming a delinquent legend even more, leading more people following Takemichi. So, yeah. People follow Takemichi, and then they join Toman as a result of that. Takemichi boosted Toman's numbers by a decent amount. They went from let's say 100 members in total to bring up to 100, around 140 just from Takemichi only. So, a lot of numbers. Pause real quick. So we can move on to, Takemichi going to the future, meeting Hina, or adult Hina. This one, Takemichi did break up with Hina, but in fact he's going to get involved in something very dangerous. But when Takemichi broke up with Hina, it did break her heart significantly. Because Takemichi, she loved him a lot more than she did in Kanon. And this one, Takemichi is more or less he's willing to go see Hina, as he's not cowardly. So Takemichi would more or less see Hina, and when he sees Hina, they're a lot more affectionate. Them sharing a lot more intimate moments. There's one intimate moment that's missing. That's something that I cannot say on YouTube. So yeah, everything else happened per intimate moments. So yeah, and eventually getting a little too flirty for Naruto, and he left, with Takemichi and Hina doing the other intimate thing that I cannot say on YouTube. Then Takemichi was leaving, and he goes outside, as, they're going to go on a drive, and Naruto just arrived, saying he'll drive them to wherever they want to go. Now with that, they stop in the park, and Takemichi has to use the bathroom. Pause real quick. Alright, so Takemichi does end up going in the bathroom, and in the bathroom they still see Hanma, and he says, "Oh, you weren't in the truck. And who the hell are you?" Naruto immediately would yell for Hina. Takemichi's able to see who this is immediately, because when he woke up, he saw Mikey fighting Hanma. And Takemichi knocked down a few decent guys, so there wasn't as many members of Mobius fighting. Hanma was a pretty obvious one. So he was able to notice who this is earlier, and immediately, Takemichi's able to grab Hanma by the collar and slam him into a wall. As Hanma can push Takemichi back, Naruto pulls out his gun, hitting Hanma across the jaw with it, knocking him out. But they run to the car. Takemichi is almost in the blast radius of the car that would crash into Hina and then blow up. All it leaves is Takemichi getting a burn mark on his arm. Takemichi would yell for Hina as he tries to pull the door off of the car, but when he does so, Hina basically says that there's no reason for me to keep trying. She can't feel her legs. Takemichi, at the same moment he has with Hina, is now able to confirm that the driver is Akun. Takemichi just lets out a yell in pain that Akun would still have to resort to Toman. And with this, Takemichi falls to his knees as Hina pushed him away, and the car blown up. So Takemichi still gave Hina the clover necklace. So, Adam, if you don't know, he gets that. But Hina's father, well, he's supposed to yell at Takemichi when he does realize that Takemichi is just, he looks more upset than everyone else did. Then Naoto now why. He was just some random delinquent. And Naoto said Takemichi was a delinquent with a large following because he was a very compassionate man. That is it. He was not strong, he was not dangerous, just compassionate. When his father heard this, Takemichi's report, what he does is a lot more, like, Takemichi has bad rep in the world of delinquents, while as an actual human, he's a good person. It's just, the other delinquents feared Takemichi so much, like, they feared yet respected him so much that they lied, because they didn't know the full truth about who he was. When his father heard pronounced that Takemichi is actually a genuinely good guy, he cannot do anything else besides get on his knees and pray beside Takemichi. Takemichi wasn't even praying, he was just quite literally just on his knees and looking like a mess. Eventually, Takemichi stays there for a few minutes before Naoto helps him up, and they go outside. His mother gives Takemichi the clover necklace, and he keeps it. Now with this, Takemichi ends up like, he still ends up seeing Draken on death row. Draken had no Takemichi, like, something's off about him. But at this point, Draken is married to Emma, but Emma had been killed on Kizaki's orders, and Draken this one wants to kill Kizaki even more in this one. And Draken asks Takemichi if he's okay, but now Naoto just says that Hina had died recently. Draken can help but be upset as him and Takemichi are a lot closer than they were in canon at this point. Like, they are extremely close. And Draken couldn't help but feel bad for Takemichi, saying that Emma had been killed on Kizaki's orders. That Takemichi can help but just cry and say that they got Draken to love as well. Draken said that once Emma had died, all sense of emotion that he had in his body was gone. Takemichi could not help but smile, saying that he has one other option to see Hina again. Which shocks Draken, but Takemichi just basically tells Draken, like, quietly through the phone about the whole time travel thing. You know, that Draken should have died at this time, but he convinced Kiyomasa to not be a bad person. Which Draken actually does find actually pretty believable because Takemichi is not a liar. So he believes this and tells Takemichi to go back and save the past and make sure Draken doesn't fall down a dark road. Takemichi would nod, saying he'll try to. And with this, Takemichi would leave, with Draken actually yelling a cheerful goodbye. And with that, Takemichi ends up leaving, smiling, saying he promises to save Draken and save everyone else's future. And, well, he does say that he will kill Kizaki if it comes down to it. And Naoto had said, "You better." Like, yeah, you better kill him. Takemichi and Naoto had fist bumped, and to promise to kill Kizaki. Now with this, Takemichi ends up still going back to the past and being in a bathhouse. In the bathhouse, well, there's tons of other guys there, but they're more than the ones who land up at the doors. But they're just standing there waiting in case anyone wants to come in. And the thing is, there's all kinds of vice captains and captains of Toman inside there. Takemichi said, "Is this a little overboard, isn't it?" Mikey said, "Yeah, those are your guys, not mine." Takemichi just said, "I guess so." But Takemichi's 40 guys that were in his division, well, he's an advisor and they kind of follow Takemichi only, so they're kind of like their own division, with the leader being Akun, but they all follow Takemichi only. Yes, they kind of follow Mikey and Pachin and everything, like, mainly Pachin and Mikey and Takemichi mainly, because those, like, Mikey's leader Toman, Pachin is the original division leader, and Takemichi's their current leader. So, yeah. Like, they hold Mikey and Takemichi on, like, the same pedestal. But Baji can help but laugh, saying this ensures that Toman can get a lot closer, but this is a little too close if you know what he means. Takemichi said, "Well, I guess this is enough time for us to get to know each other, because I don't know who any of you are besides Mitsuya, Draken, and Mikey." So the angry stood up, saying he's smiley, he's angry, or Smiley's real name is Naoya, I believe. I forgot Angry's name. I don't care. Then we have Muto and Sanzu. Then we have Keisuke Baji, and then we have Chifuyu. Then we have Mitsuya and Hakai. Takemichi somewhat knows Hakai just from coming around school occasionally. Mitsuya and Hakai are kind of, Takemichi knows who Hakai is occasionally, so he knows Hakai and Mitsuya. Watching Payon, he knows them. And then, well, the rest of them he knows. So yeah. Now with this, Takemichi eventually leaves, putting on someone gear. And well, his one jacket a little bit different as his basically sleeves. One sleeve says Takemichi gang, the other sleeve says advisor. Which they kind of put on the same pedestal as well Safai's captain. But he more or less is now the organizer for all their events or their meetings. And he has a meeting coming up recently. And it's more or less to announce a few new members of Toman, like 2 new members that are pretty important. Well, I guess 1 new member. So with this, they end up going up and we're going to have their meeting, and Kizaki's now a member of Toman. So you should know who it was an emergency meeting that Mikey had called. This person mainly promised that Toman would flourish under certain terms that Mikey was able to believe. When Takemichi saw him, he ended up walking to Kizaki and punched him right in the gut. He tried to do it as hard as he could, because Kizaki falls to his knees, holding his gut, almost throwing up. Takemichi told Mikey that Kizaki should not be allowed in Toman. He is a horrible person. The guy that's going to join with Kizaki does punch at Takemichi, but Kiyomasa and he's a middle surround the guy. And Yamagishi kicks him back in his legs, and Akuma hits the guy in his face, and they basically just begin jumping him. Takemichi will stare at Mikey, and it's a very serious glare, saying that Kizaki has to leave, or him and his 40 men will leave. Mikey doesn't know that someone needs the numbers that Takemichi could bring in, but why does he hate Kizaki so much? Suddenly Baji was going for a punch, but Takemichi is able to somewhat dodge barely. And with this, we'll see Kiyomasa and a lot of other guys grabbing Baji. Before they break out, Takemichi then delivers the same kind of punch that he did to Kiyosaki to Baji's gut. Baji couldn't help but cough, saying, "Damn it." He falls back, but kicks away a lot of the guys. But he's not on his knees, almost about to throw up. He's pretty durable. But Takemichi hit him in a certain spot that made him damn. So, yeah. Baji threw a punch at Takemichi, but Takemichi basically grabbed Baji by the collar, and basically just began hitting Baji in the face rapidly over and over and over, and Baji did the same thing back. Takemichi didn't fall down, as well in the context of this, he will never fall. He refuses to. Takemichi and Baji just proceeded to go blow for blow, over and over and over, to the point where blood splattering everywhere. So Hina and Emma showed up, because Draken and Takemichi were hanging out. It's oh, we should go with them. But Emma just yells, "Baji!" Takemichi just hears Hina yell, "Yo, Hanagaki!" But Takemichi didn't stop, no matter what, as he just kept punching at Baji. Now, Mikey actually holds both Emma, Draken holds back Emma, and Mikey holds off Hina. Eventually Baji falls to his knees, saying, "Damn it, why won't you fall over?" Takemichi just spits out a little bit of blood, saying when it comes to a battle of just sheer willpower, he refuses to fall and will never fall. Baji says, "This isn't a manga, that was a battle of just sheer power." Takemichi says, "Okay, so if it's a battle of power, I win." While he's confused, Takemichi kicks Baji right in the face, making Baji fall over unconscious. And Takemichi says, "Alright, anyone has a problem with the way I won?" His vision says no. Kizaki just looks at Baji on the ground defeated, and Takemichi kicks Kizaki right in the face, knocking him out too, and breaking his glasses. The guy that Akuna and everyone else jumps is just on the ground, just basically lying in puddles of his own blood. He's not dead, but he's not going to get up for a long time. Takemichi looked at Mikey, and then Hina just ran and hugged Takemichi, asking him why he's fighting like that. Takemichi said over a dumb reason. He doesn't even know why Baji attacked him. But Mikey just asked Takemichi why he hates Kizaki so much. He said that Kizaki's a petty bastard who hates him for dating Hina. Hina heard that she didn't even know Kizaki loved her. That's an instant that everyone's like, oh, Takemichi is dating someone that guy loves. And Mikey immediately kicks Kizaki out of Toman, saying, Nope. Me too, get his clothes off of them. Those are our clothes, they're Toman's clothes, get them. He said the guy stripped Kizaki and the guy who he was running with, and they basically leave him tied to a tree. But the guy has a Swiss Army knife in his hand from Takemichi. Well, Baji dropped off at Mikey's house, and Takemichi dropped off at the hospital. Baji didn't suffer as much damage as Takemichi due to him being a lot more durable, and Takemichi doesn't really hit too hard. It was just he's hitting Baji so much that Baji was bleeding a lot. So yeah, Takemichi just got hit hell hard by Baji multiple times over. Like Takemichi may have a concussion at this point. I'd be surprised if he didn't in canon though. I guarantee you, every time Kiyomasa beat his ass, he got a concussion. But Takemichi more or less gets a few bruises treated. And with this, well, he already had a broken hand. It was just, not a broken hand, but a few broken fingers. But he's still able to hang on to Baji and still punch Baji in the face. Pause real quick. Takemichi eventually has to look to the future to more or less, like, I guess, just get to know what happened, like, gets to happen in the Valhalla incident. Like, he's told about the Valhalla incident later. Or gets, like, he's told that there's going to be a fight between Valhalla, because Baji told Mikey that and then left. Baji more or less like hates Takemichi, or not hates him, but is shocked by Takemichi because he's a lot like Shinichiro. Like in a battle of will, Shinichiro would still fight. Takemichi seemed like some coward, and every time Takemichi would not fight in a battle of will, he'd lose, obviously. So Takemichi just has an iron will and a body to the point where he's like, I don't care if I'm getting my ass beat, I'll still fight. At least Takemichi being too scared to fight half the time, so. Looks like Takemichi's not afraid to throw hands, he just knows he will most likely lose unless he gets a weapon. Like, he can get a bat and he'll try to fight, but he's a bad fighter, obviously. Like, he'll grab two bats and spin around hoping he'll do something, which he does, but yeah. But he's Draken on death row. He's Draken on death row again, and he hears about Valhalla from that, and eventually he heads back to the past. And well, now more or less he meets Kazutora in school the same way. Because first he sees Takemichi too much like Shinichiro, like height and everything. But eventually Takemichi, as he goes through the hallway, well, since the guys walk out of their classrooms, bowing down to Takemichi, and Kazutora's two right-hand men being like telling them like, move away for Kazutora senpai. But Kiyomasa was one of the guys who walked up, and he basically kicked one of the guys in the gut, picking up the crutches, and beating the other guy with it, saying don't raise your voice in front of Hanagaki. Takemichi asked why Kiyomasa was here and not in his school. Kiyomasa basically just said that all the men decided to get you lunch. He looked up a giant bag of food. Takemichi just took it, asking Kazutora if he wanted to share it. Kazutora said sure, as he just reached in the bag, grabbing a burger, and Takemichi and him just began eating it as they went to Valhalla's base. On there, Takemichi was not scared at all. He was terrified, but he pretended he wasn't. As he walked in, someone had said Toman scum, and in response, Takemichi decked him across the face immediately. And well, this guy happened to be extremely weak, so Takemichi knocked him out in one go. But the thing is, Takemichi was just so impressive with that one punch on a weak person that they thought he was just really strong. Like, he gave the illusion he was just strong as hell. Like, he's pulling a Mr. Satan and taking the credit for certain things that could have been done by most people. Well, you know, it wouldn't even be Mr. Satan, it would be like, who would it be like? Hold up, pause real quick. Alright, honestly, I forgot what I was thinking of, but Banako was a prime example. Like, if Takemichi were to fight Draken in front of everyone, Draken would let Takemichi win just through a sheer joke. Like, the kind of person Takemichi is, he's just like Monaka, honestly, just a lot less of a coward. But we can just go on to, like, just Baji beating up Chifuyu. Takemichi just realizes that Baji's beating up Chifuyu, he steps in, but members of Valhalla starts to, like, just block Takemichi's way. Takemichi in response just grabs the two guys' head and slams them together, knocking them out immediately. Then kicks Baji in the face again. This Baji, he's willing to beat him in a fight again. Which actually makes a lot of people step back, because Takemichi said he beat Baji. Baji goes, "This was a cheap shot, you bastard." Takemichi grabbed Baji with a shirt and headbutted him, saying, "Call that a cheap shot then." Takemichi would pick up Chifuyu, and until Kazutora could keep the food, he's leaving with Chifuyu. Takemichi walked out with Chifuyu, and one guy should run at Takemichi. He used like the metal part, I guess the metal splits on his broken fingers, hit the guy right in the eye. I think the guy fell back with his eye bleeding. Then he walked outside and brought Chifuyu to a park and put him based on the swing set, and he sat next to Chifuyu until he was fully conscious. He held him in place so he didn't fall off the swing, but yeah. Chifuyu woke up, he asked where he was, and Takemichi said, at a park. He asked Takemichi over to Baji, and Takemichi said he headbutted the hell out of him. That's what happened. So, yeah. Usually Baji ran up to Takemichi saying, "What the hell are you doing? I have a plan there." And he says, "I don't care. You don't beat up Chifuyu for the plan. You ask him to join with you." And Takemichi and Baji basically get into an argument. But Baji, in response to that, basically gives a whole backstory of Shinichiro and what he knows of and him and Kazutora. Like, gives a whole backstory. Then he gives what he knows about Kizaki. Kizaki tried to basically just trick Mikey by saying he can make Toman flourish with money and make more on people join. And Takemichi didn't really care about most of that, but was shocked to see that's why Baji was so nice to him, was because he resembled Shinichiro and Baji felt bad about it. That's why Kazutora was nice to him, because he resembled Shinichiro a lot. But now Takemichi basically tells Baji doesn't care what Baji is so nice for or anything. Just Baji should not have beaten up Chifuyu. But Baji basically grabs Takemichi and hits him in the face, knocking him out immediately, telling Takemichi he doesn't know anything about the delinquent world. Saying that this is just how harsh things are. Takemichi shouldn't have gotten involved. Takemichi just lays on the ground unconscious, and then we see basically Baji finish beating up Chifuyu, with Chifuyu accepting it. So yeah, and Kazuro was watching this, and yeah. So Baji, he heard that Baji had a plan, and is now more or less wanting to let Baji go. Not go, but just let Baji watch. So, not let Baji watch me. Just let Baji join, just so we can keep an eye on Baji's plan. But I kind of want to fast forward to the main fight with Valhalla now, because everything else will play out something very similar to how it does in canon. But now Takemichi doesn't know that Baji will die through stabbing, and Kazuhara dies through Mikey beating him to death. Under Takemichi being Toman's advisor, he would step up to the plate when Hansen would summon the two who were going to represent each gang. You think when Kazuhara would punch out the first, Hansen, when he knocks him out, Kazuhara says, we're here to kill you bastards, it's not to be an organized fight. Takemichi immediately grabbed Kazuhara by the neck, saying, alright then, it won't be organized. He then decks Kazuhara across the face, and basically just beating Kazuhara down. This is using punches that are so fast that Kazuhara cannot block them. Kazuhara will kick Takemichi off of him, but as he tries to run off towards Mikey, Takemichi will grab Kazuhara's foot and pull him back. Before Hanma can interfere, Mikey and Draken actually block the way for everyone else, and Takemichi and Kazuhara begin fighting. It's obviously in favor of Kazuhara, but Takemichi is still trying. Shifuyu will jump right over Mikey and kick Kazuhara in the head, then Takemichi will grab Kazuhara and slam his head right into the pavement. Then he reaches in Kazuhara's pocket, pulling out a blade, telling everyone to back off. He pulls it out, and puts it to Kazuhara's neck, saying he's going to kill him. Baji's kind of nervous. I assume Kazuhara had that. Kazuhara had yelled, he's going to kill Baji. That's why. Baji had a plan to basically betray Valhalla. Takemichi basically told Kazuhara that he's a coward, and thumbs head in the pavement one more time, knocking him out. Eventually, with this, we see someone running at Takemichi, but he turns around, or spins around, basically slashing their chest, and they fall over, holding their chest as it's bleeding. Takemichi puts the blade away, helps Hansen to his feet, and gives Hansen the knife, saying, take it. He nods, thanking Takemichi, and walks off. Takemichi starts telling most of Valhalla, and now he knows, he doesn't know how to fight, but he doesn't know he cannot let anyone know he's scared. Plus, people have the illusion he's stronger than Baji, so people are some are too scared to fight Takemichi. Now, Toman actually has a lot more numbers, due to Takemichi being a lot more of a respectable person, to the point where it went from 140 to now it's at almost 200. So they're pretty close. They're around like 190. Now, when Draken trying to buy guys, well, Kiyomasa actually steps in as leader of Takemichi. Would watch as Kiyomasa and Akut step in, and they basically began dropping guys left and right in front of Draken until he got to Hanma. Now, Hanma actually was able to punch Draken into nearby thing of pillars, and is about to fall because someone's going to push on the Draken. Takemichi actually picked up a giant rock and threw it right at the guy's head, knocking the guy out. So yeah, Draken did a thumbs up to Takemichi. Takemichi just smirked as he jumped and kicked Hanma in the back, sending Hanma flying into Draken. Now Draken basically put Hanma in a rear naked chokehold and began choking him out. Then Hanma passes out, and now we basically just see Baji fighting off members of Valhalla. And, yeah. Then we see Takemichi see Kizaki watching, and alerts Mikey saying he's watching, pointing to Kizaki. Then Takemichi would run up to Hansen, pulling out the knife, and running right at Kizaki. Takemichi able to jump over a lot of the not over, but onto the junk cars, actually jumping over the gate, and onto Kizaki. Soon the cops arrive to see Takemichi holding a knife. Takemichi response just basically holds the knife and just runs off as fast as he can, pulling the jacket over his face, and so no one sees him. Kizaki is just, well, he's kind of under arrest for watching the delinquents fight. They think he was part of it, so he gets arrested as well. But most of the time, gets away. Like some miscellaneous members get arrested, sure, but no one important. But they want to know who Takemichi was, with the one with the knife, and well, Kizaki isn't a snitch, so assuming his pride, he's a snitch and doesn't tell on anyone. So yeah. Pause real quick though. So I guess we just go on to just Takemichi, who would I guess the incident ends. Takemichi's would still, everything goes the same until he meets Draken. Well, not meets Draken. He goes to Draken's house. Goes there, well, he's mistaken for a customer, but Draken says, not Draken, Takemichi says, nope, happily have a girlfriend, and keeps walking by. They go to Draken's room, and the girls are just shocked that Draken met someone as big as him as a friend. So it's just pretty funny. And with this, Takemichi will just proceed to just hang out with Draken for a bit, as they're really good friends. Now, with this, Takemichi more or less just decides to tell Draken, not future, but, well, he's already told future Draken, but he tells past Draken about everything going to the future and everything, because future Draken already knows, why not past Draken? This Draken does know Takemichi is not a liar, something that he would not ever do. Like, he may have been, he's mistaken, he doesn't lie, but people mistake his words for certain things, so, yeah. By the way, Mobius and Valhalla incident, Toman won, obviously. Draken took our Hanma, Kizaki was arrested, but then released because he's able to trick the cops. Kazutora was not arrested. He escaped due to the help of some members of Toman, on the orders of Baji. They found out that when they heard that Baji was a spy from Kazutora, they're like, oh, he's our ally then. On Baji's orders, they help Kazutora get away. But we can go on to more or less just Takemichi telling Draken about the future, and Draken, but here Takemichi just tell him everything that that Draken went through, and how he's able to save Pachin from getting arrested, save Baji from death, save Draken from death. It just took a lot of expense, holding his fingers and then pointing to a few bruises on his body that are still there from months ago. Draken couldn't do anything but thank Takemichi, and Takemichi just smiled. So yeah, pause one more time. Eventually Takemichi will head back to the future after the whole, Emma on a date thing, but that doesn't really go the same way. It's just more or less Takemichi forgetting that Emma is Mikey's sister. Is Mikey hitting on Emma? And he's like, oh yeah, that's his sister. So, yeah. Takemichi eventually ends up going to the future, ends up having his whole new appearance. Takemichi, his appearance is a lot more different than it is in canon. Well, first off, his hair's pretty long and shaggy, but still he's wearing a designer suit, designer watch, the newest phone model, and, well, pretty nice bag. So, yeah. He goes up to his car, saying Kiyomasa, Akun, Yamagishi, Yamamoto, Suzuki, and Yamagishi. I didn't say him already. Kind of like Mizumiddle went from Mizumiddle 5 to Mizumiddle 6. But with this we more or less just see Takemichi, he just being confused, and he still has Chifuyu as his friend, as his partner still. So him and Chifuyu are still pretty close. But his best friend within Toman is most likely going to be probably just Chifuyu or Baji, or even Kazutora, really. Actually, I'm kind of betting on Kazutora and Baji because they feel bad for what happened to Shinichiro, and they put that all on Takemichi to be his friend. But yeah, Takemichi is an adult currently in this luxurious timeline for him. Well, it's not luxurious, but in this rich timeline. His hair is more than one, kind of down to his collarbone, so pretty long. Takemichi eventually ends up going to the upper echelon meeting at Toman, and everyone that bows down to him saying Hanagaki-san, or Hanagaki-kun. Takemichi would just sit down saying, why is everyone calling me that? He would just sigh, and everyone just more or less goes on with the meeting until he's called in by Kizaki, and so is Chifuyu. Chifuyu would make jokes talking about how Baji should have died that day, but then says that he even organized it that way, but Takemichi got in the way. Takemichi pulls out, just grabs a cup of whiskey and drinks it, saying, Kizaki's just a bastard who should have died if the cops didn't arrive. Takemichi reaches his pocket, pulling a switchblade, pulling it out, saying that he's finished the job now, then passes out. When he's thrown unconscious, eventually wakes up, tied to a chair, and Shifuyu's already tied up as well. She would say, about time you woke up, you jackass. Takemichi just says, be nice. He stirs up, looking at Kizaki, who aims a gun at them. He then shoots Takemichi in the leg, shoots Chifuyu in the leg, then kills Chifuyu. Then Kazutora bursts in, saving Takemichi, and eventually he brings Takemichi to safety. Now, Takemichi eventually is still beaten up by Kazutora for allowing Toman to be a woman-beating gang because he saw that on the street. And Takemichi had no other person to tell Kazutora about the whole future thing, saying that he was just lied to Kazutora, knowing what he's been through and how people see him as Shinichiro. So just to avoid more trauma of Shinichiro, to Kazutora just tells Kazutora about everything he knows about the future and everything. Now he just arrived. He doesn't know what Toman is like. All he knows is that he's some legendary gangster that everyone even respects, even the cops won't even bother him. Customer's like, oh, so that's why you look so confused when I hit you. Takemichi nodded, saying, yeah, and come here, so I can hit you back. Customer said, nope. Already gotten enough scars from you slamming my head in the pavement. Takemichi laughed, saying, oh, so that did work on you. Customer put the thumbs up, saying, yep. But with this, we just more or less go on to Sora just telling Takemichi gets the same stuff, and Takemichi going, like, everything goes the exact same way it does in canon, until he returns to the past, I guess. Pause real quick. So he's back to the past, he's in a bowling alley with Draken, Emma, Hina, and, well, himself. He then just hits a strike, and him and Draken and Hakai are doing the exact same pose. With this, Hakai just laughs, saying, oh, Takemichi, Draken, how you guys doing? Takemichi says he's doing okay, and she asks Hakai if that's Yuzuha's. Well, he's friends with basically everyone in Toman, up to vice captain at least. So with this, yeah, he doesn't know a bit about Hakai, and says, that must be Yuzuha, which is Hakai's sister. Yuzuha tells Takemichi, yeah, she's Yuzuha, and that's how he knows her. He says, oh, he's one of Hakai's superiors. Now, Yuzuha actually says, oh, you're that new advisor guy in Toman, right? He would nod, saying, yep. So Takemichi eventually would head out, and basically see a few cars lined up, offering to take Takemichi home if he wants to. Takemichi would decide, saying, all of you go home. Please let me live normally. They drive off on Takemichi's orders. And Yuzuha would just ask what that's about. Is he rich or something? He says, no, just very popular. Then they keep walking. Draken is with them this time. Now, this eventually leads to more or less like them still encountering like I guess they still encounter Taiju. I guess like mostly like the Black Dragons. But well, the ones that have been there for a long time, when they see Takemichi approaching with his coat hanging on his shoulders, they see Shinichiro coming towards them, not Takemichi. Really, Inupi can't help but fall to his knees and say Shinichiro. Takemichi says, why does everyone keep calling me Shinichiro? I am not him. Draken says, you act just like him. Takemichi says, do I look like him? Do I look like Mikey? Draken says, no, not at all. You're pretty ugly. Takemichi then says, no more questions. Draken says, good. They're annoying. Now with this, Takemichi being Takemichi and Koko get in an argument, when suddenly this leads to more or less like Taiju charging at Takemichi. Takemichi spins around trying to jump out of the way, but Draken more or less clotheslines Taiju immediately, sending Taiju into the air. So, let's pause real quick. So, well, Draken had basically just like clotheslined Taiju. Taiju got back up, holding his neck. Leading him basically just yelled, attack. Takemichi immediately kicked the first guy that he saw to the ground, picking up his bat, and just began hitting people left and right. And he's actually pretty accurate with his bat strikes now, not just swinging wildly. He's getting better at fighting, but still pretty much sucks. He's not strong then. He's not strong at all. It's like his hits are actually really luckily well placed. So yeah, something good in my ear. Takemichi more or less proceeds to just beat down some guys with the bat, and eventually he's able to somewhat fight off a decent amount of Black Dragons. It comes across Koko and Inupi. Inupi asks Takemichi who he is, and he says his name is Takemichi Onagaki. With this, Takemichi then dashes forward right at Inupi as Koko would kick at Takemichi. Uses the bat to block the kick, which happens to be metal. But Inupi ends up kicking the bat, sending Takemichi sliding back a bit, and Koko will try to land a few hits on Takemichi. Excuse me. As these hits are being blocked by the bat or dodged barely by Takemichi, a few hits do land. Takemichi eventually will get hit in the gut, and Takemichi will grab will grab Koko's leg. So Yuzuha will jump in the air, kicking Inupi right in the face. This Hakai bursts in, grabbing the face of Inupi, not Inupi, grabbing the face of Koko, slamming it into the ground, knocking him out. We go to Inupi, who just says he doesn't want to fight anymore. Takemichi reminds him of Shinichiro too much. I'm sure Inupi even knew who Shinichiro was as a person, like he knew him personally. So this would probably be a reason for Inupi to not want to fight. And then we see Draken and Taiju fighting, and Draken eventually does beat Taiju, but barely. So, yeah. Actually, no, I wouldn't say barely, because Michi's punches had somewhat of an effect on Taiju, and Draken could probably beat Michi pretty easily. So I'd say that Draken probably didn't beat Taiju. It wasn't too hard, but he's able to do so. So yeah, Black Dragons just had their leader defeated. Now Draken actually asks what's next, but Takemichi sends him from Draken saying, nope, everyone stop fighting. Basically gives a speech, And well, the speech is very inspirational. It's just telling everyone that there's no need to keep fighting. Their leader is down. The winner is Toman. Losers are Black Dragons. Black Dragons can now either absorb into Toman or disband or go on a long hiatus. You choose. Because he's pretty tired and they're in the middle of a neighborhood. So choose one. Inubi stands up, saying he's going to Toman. Goku would wake up, saying he's going to Toman. And well, if you remember, like most members of Black Dragons go to Toman. And with this, we have Taiju waking up a bit later in his house, but we see Draken sitting there alongside Mitsuya and Mikey. Takemichi sitting next to Taiju holding a bat, saying, I dare you try something. Taiju sets up, saying, who the hell are you? Takemichi hits him in the face with a bat, saying he did the dare. Mikey couldn't help but laugh as Takemichi would move the bat, and Taiju holds his jaw, saying, I should kill you right now. But Draken hits Taiju in the face, saying, and I'll knock you in your ass again. Choose one. So yeah. Now with this, Taiju asks what happened, and Draken says he lost horribly. What keeps getting in my ear? But with this, we have Draken and everyone else basically just telling Taiju that he lost, and a lot of the Black Dragons went to Toman. So Taiju doesn't really believe this, so he sees members members of Black Dragons outside, not wearing their uniforms, just wearing the pants, and that's about it. Their jackets are off and on the ground. And Mikey says, I guarantee you it was just Takemichi being inspirational or honorable again. Draken says, yeah, probably. And Taiju would basically tell Takemichi just basically fuck off. He took his gang from him. Takemichi had suddenly grabbed Taiju by the neck and began hitting him in the face over and over and over. Taiju pushed Takemichi back, he grabbed a pillow, began swinging Taiju with it, and he kept hitting Taiju in the face over and over and over. Taiju made him sick, and Takemichi kind of trying to find enough of it when Taiju's like, no, you leave. And Taiju phrased it as his house. Takemichi, well, when he said his house, Takemichi would basically say a house is full of love, a home is full of love. Taiju made this place a hellhole. So, yeah. He just got pushed to his limit. He said to get out of my house. Well, Takemichi basically pushed the pillow down on Taiju's face and hitting Taiju in the face over and over and over until he's pulled away from Taiju. It was from Hakai and Yuzo saying, what the hell are you doing to kill him? Takemichi would yell, he deserves it. And basically, Taiju's trying to get the pillow off his face so he doesn't get smothered to death, but Takemichi was holding it there in place as hard as he could. So, yeah. But we eventually just go on to more or less like Taiju, who would end up basically just telling Takemichi what the hell's his problem. But Takemichi would say that he should kill Taiju right here and now. Taiju would stand up saying that they can fight then, and Takemichi puts his arms up saying he's willing to fight Taiju. Taiju in the dash at Takemichi, hitting him in the face, but he then is able to take the punch and hits Taiju right in the face back. And Takemichi's a lot faster. This one, he learns has to be fast in fights, or else he'll get hit a lot. So he doesn't want to be hit because he's pretty damn frail, or a fighter at least. Actually, him and Taiju going blow for blow, but Taiju having most of the effect going in. But eventually, Mikey can't help but laugh, saying, "All right, you fell in the trap now, Taiju." Taiju would be confused as suddenly Takemichi grabbed Taiju by the collar and headbutting him. Taiju falls back a bit until Takemichi will hold Taiju down and just keep wailing on him over and over and over. Takemichi falls back, saying, "All right, too tired to finish this." Taiju would get up with his face covered in blood, saying, "You shit, I'll kill you." Tries to basically stomp Takemichi's head. We just see basically just Hakai hitting Taiju in the gut as hard as he can, sending Taiju flying back and passing out. Hakai helps Takemichi to his feet, and Takemichi would thank Hakai. Now this we fast forward a bit. On I guess Christmas Day. Takemichi had recovered from his beating, and his fingers are fully healed by now. With this, we more or less just see Takemichi and Taiju hanging out in the church. Takemichi is actually kind of offering a prayer to Shinichiro, and Taiju's in there with Takemichi. Now with this, Takemichi offers a prayer to Shinichiro, and saying that he's gonna live up to the legend of the legendary Shinichiro Sano. With this, Taiju will question what Takemichi would mean. Takemichi says he's always compared to Shinichiro. Even Mikey is giving him a lot more respect than other people because he's just like him. Taiju just says Takemichi must have lots of burden to be compared to that legendary person. Takemichi would say that it is indeed a lot of work. Taiju would then say that if Takemichi was willing to take the rest of the Black Dragons into Toman and lead them properly and better than he did, he's willing to serve under Takemichi for the rest of his life. Takemichi asked if he's serious, and Taiju had said, Takemichi proved that he's willing to not back down in someone stronger than him, even if it would kill him. And he respects about Takemichi, so he's willing to do so if Takemichi can just say he will always keep doing that. He'll never back down from a fight, even if he's obviously the loser, or obviously the weaker one. Takemichi stands up, grabbing Taiju by the shirt, saying if Taiju is even hinting at Takemichi backing down, he'll kill him. Taiju can help but laugh, saying then I'll take that as a yes. That's basically just Takemichi said he's never backed down from a fight before, and he won't do so now. So Taiju says, alright then, well, you're now my leader. That Takemichi would step outside with Taiju, and announces that he's now the 6th Division captain, and all the Black Dragons are now under his command. He's the 11th generation leader of the Black Dragons, and the 6th Division leader, Toman. This Black Dragons began bowing to Takemichi, and Taiju is his vice captain, because Taiju's the stronger one. He's doing it by power, but his friends are still going to be his preferred ones. So yeah, pause real quick. So, Takemichi after this will be announced as the 6th Division leader of Toman and the advisor of Mikey. And then we'll be going to New Year's, where Taiju's actually acting as a good sibling. He's actually fearing fighting Takemichi not with power, but with just sheer determination and willpower, because that's kind of what it comes down to in an endurance fight in anime. Unless it's Baki, where it's just a real power and endurance fight. But, yeah. Now this, Toman actually has their own things, and Takemichi's whole thing is that he wants to be so strong, well not so strong, but he wants to be relied on and be greater than Shinichiro. Now this gets back to the future, and in the future he does still end up meeting, he still ends up seeing basically just everyone has been killed by Mikey, and he hears about it. He's at Mitsuya's funeral, and Takemichi wants to kill Mikey. Because, he killed a lot of his friends. Takemichi being clenching his fist, and his hands just bleeding from it. Mitsu's sisters will walk up to Takemichi and just begin crying alongside him, as he's just upset. And he just punches a wall, saying that he knows where Mikey is, because, Mikey still did give Takemichi a motorcycle. Takemichi would more or less just be able to get to the Philippines. But with Naoto, Takemichi goes into the same place that Mikey showed him in the picture. Well, Mikey had drawn a gun to Takemichi and told Takemichi to kill him. When Mikey had Takemichi the gun, Takemichi hit Mikey across the jaw with it, and grabbed Mikey by the throat, just hitting him with it over and over and over. Seeing why Mikey would do such a thing as killing their friends. Mikey said that they were Takemichi's friends, not his. Takemichi immediately threw the gun out the window, and just punched Mikey in the face one more time, telling Mikey that they're having a very long talk. Mikey then said that he'll kill Takemichi right here now if he's not going to kill Mikey. Mikey jumped on Takemichi. Takemichi just grabbed Mikey's arms and began pushing him back, throwing Mikey against the wall, and kicked Mikey in the chest, holding him in place, saying that Mikey and him are going to talk like adults. They're no longer children. They're going to have a normal conversation. Takemichi began yelling at Mikey, saying that Takemichi was a recent member of Toman, still probably considered recent, and Mikey's the one that gathered all those members. Takemichi just helped gather them. Mikey's the one that gathered Toman, the one that made them happy, the one that led them to battle, the reason they're also so courageous today. Mikey had made them better people, including Draken, including Mitsuya, everyone. Takemichi then can't help but just say that imagine all the people that they helped just by beating up other gangs. Toman was a gang different from other people, and due to Mikey killing the founders of Toman, he ruined their reputation of the gang and what it stood for. Mikey's destroying Toman in each and every timeline he visits. Mikey is confused by the statement, but Takemichi just yells out what he means. Mikey realizes that Takemichi is right. He's been ruining every single Toman timeline by letting everything get to him. First it was Shinichiro and Draken, but Takemichi fixed Draken. Then it was Shinichiro, Kazutora, and Baji. Takemichi fixed Baji and Kazutora. All Mikey's doing is just undoing every bit of progress he worked for, and he's sick of it. He's not going to let Mikey throw everything out the window like this. Then he'll send up, telling Mikey come back to Japan, and Mikey had said no. Mikey opened his mouth, biting down his tongue as hard as he could, biting it off. Mikey is in the North hospital, but he already bled out by then. Takemichi had clutched Mikey's body, saying that he refuses to let Mikey go out like a coward. He's going to do something about it, even if he has to beat common sense into Mikey. Mikey still did go over the dark impulses he has, just he does it as an adult. and as an adult, he acted upon the dark impulses. So, yeah. Pause. So, Mikey had died by killing himself, and then with that, Takemichi and Naoto head back. Takemichi is back to the past, and now we go on to the Tenjiku arc. Takemichi already did say goodbye to Chifuyu, Chifuyu and Draken already knew about the time leap thing, but he has to just tell him that he's back because, Mikey killed himself, and now he refuses to let Mikey go out like that. So, yeah. Draken tried that Takemichi just wants to help at all costs. So, yeah. But eventually we see Takemichi, who still ends up how do I say this? I guess he's still in the subway with his friends, but then we see just them beaten up by some Tenjiku members, and we go to basically just Fuyu saving Takemichi from that one member Tenjiku. Not one member, but he's surrounded, but there's other guys Tenjiku. But Mochi's about to land a punch on Fuyu when Takemichi would jump in the way, blocking the punch, and his arm was almost broken by Mochi's punch. Fuyu thanked Takemichi, my bad. Takemichi just smiles, saying no problem, and then dashes right at Mochi as Mochi and him basically just collide fists. Mochi's obviously stronger, but Takemichi is not. First time he's been working out a bit, just somewhat be average. He wants to be at least average in strength, as he's below that. But now he's actually somewhat average by now. So you grab Mochi by the shirt and he go into the whole battle thing. But he's actually dodging Mochi's punches instead of taking them head on, and delivered punches in Mochi's face as hard as possible and as fast as possible. Then Mochi would end up picking up Takemichi, but before he slams him, we see Angry and Smiley both land punches on each side of Mochi's face, sending Mochi just stumbling back, as he would drop Takemichi. As well as Takemichi just run, and then knee Mochi right in the groin. Mochi falls to his knees, and suddenly he's kneed in the face by Takemichi, and everyone then runs off. Mochi's holding his obviously broken nose, telling them to get those bastards. That Takemichi would run out, jumping on his motorcycle, and drive off, with just Fuyu and his friends with him. Of course, Smiley and Angry have the other friends, Fuyu's with Takemichi. Then they're able to drive off somewhere else to where everyone's safe, and eventually they still are forced to meet up with Kakucho and all of them. So in the warehouse, when they're outnumbered, Takemichi says he'll fight Kakucho himself. Kakucho would put his fists up, Takemichi puts his up, they dash in and just begin trading blows. Kakucho's obviously the dominant force here, but Takemichi's still pretty fast. This is able to avoid a few punches. Eventually he picks up Kakucho and body slams him. Then Takemichi, as an adult, before he went to the Philippine George, on his way there, he was watching TV. He's watching TV on the plane to waste time, and he had seen a move called the suplex, saying that it was very powerful if used correctly. Takemichi took advantage of that move as he picks up Kakucho and then suplexes him right on the pavement, and it's concrete currently. With that, it knocks out Kakucho immediately, with Takemichi stand up, realizing that took a lot of effort to do, because Kakucho's pretty heavy, and Takemichi's barely even above average strength right now, or barely even reaching average strength. Kakucho isn't knocked out, but he's in pain. Takemichi raises his leg, axe kicking Kakucho on the back of his head, knocking him out, officially. Then asks if anyone else wants some. With that, some guys rush Takemichi, but he's able to just somewhat avoid them, as then Smiley and Angry protect him. And Takemichi's being panting, saying that was a little too much for him. The suplex takes a lot of energy from him. However, everyone leaves, Kakucho would stand up, saying, "Damn it, that hurt." Takemichi and Kakucho have the same conversation they do in canon, but Takemichi would just say he's willing to basically steal Tenjiku members, just so Toman can just make Tenjiku know that Toman will win in a fight. Just to scare Toman. He wants to scare them. Not scare Toman, scare Tenjiku. That's his whole goal, to scare them. But, Kakucho just says save Izuna. Just save Izuna, please. That's the whole thing. So, yeah. Pause, I guess. So, yes, Kakucho would just leave. I guess we can go on to things kind of happening per normal up until Takemichi meeting Taiju in the future. When he meets Taiju in the future, Taiju just actually call Takemichi like Takemichi-senpai. And Takemichi more or less just tells Taiju stop calling him that, as he's basically a nobody as an adult. With this, he goes over, Taiju goes over everything, how everyone's dead. Then eventually Inupi Kyoko arrive, but Inupi cannot bring himself to basically arrest Takemichi. Well, arrest, but I guess take him down. With Inupi having this halting thought, Takemichi's able to retreat right out of place, with Taiju holding everyone off. As they run out, Takemichi eventually would see a gun from a barrel of a gun from an alley, and was able to actually dodge the bullet. But then they keep getting fired at from different places. Suddenly Takemichi is shot right in the stomach by someone else, and then Kizaki then shoots Naoto in the back. Takemichi and Naoto crawl towards each other, just hoping to get one last handshake in. Naoto's about to be shot right in the heart, but he has enough life force left to grab Takemichi's hand. Like that, Takemichi then travels back to the past for the final time. Them being in the past for the final time, well, Takemichi ends up trying to shake Kid Naoto's hand, but it doesn't work. Takemichi eventually would lay on the slide, having no will to live, and Takemichi is just crying there all day, till Hina arrives. But Hina had called Emma and Draken, and eventually Chifuyu arrived with Draken. Takemichi is bawling his eyes out, and Draken can't assume what this is about, so can Chifuyu. This Draken tells Emma to go wait over there, and, well, but Hina just asks why Emma has to wait, and Draken just explains to Hina the whole time travel thing. That's Takemichi what happened. Takemichi explains that him and Naoto are the triggers for time travel, and that basically he ended up, first he met with Taiju, and eventually Taiju ended up holding off Inupi and Koko, who were attacking him on the order of Toman. But eventually, as they ran through the alley, Takemichi is shot by someone else. He didn't see Kakucho. Then Kizaki would end up shooting Naoto, and then Naoto is murdered. But Takemichi and Naoto are able to get him one last handshake, and now Takemichi's here permanently. Hina asks how old Takemichi really is, and he says he's 26. Well, 26 with the body of Takemichi's 26, or mentally 26, but in the body of a 14-year-old. Hina still reveals that she loves Takemichi, and actually tells Takemichi she's willing to keep loving him if he promises to marry her whenever he's able to return in the future. Takemichi would say he's willing to if Hina just answers this one question: will you marry me? He would say yes, and Takemichi cannot smile, saying that he's going to try to fix the future one more time, but he needs all their help. Hina says we'll try. Chifuyu says he's definitely going to help his partner, and Draken says he owes Takemichi for saving his life. Which was confused with Hina and Chifuyu. But Draken says, no, it's a long story. They nod, and well, now we move on through the story. Pause real quick. So I guess when Takemichi returns he's already there. So see everything would go the same up until Mucho would give Koko a choice to more or less join Tenjiku or die, or let Inupi and Takemichi die. But Takemichi refuses to let Koko make a choice, as he's able to free his feet and jump right at Mucho. Mucho tries to slam Takemichi, but when Takemichi hits the ground, he's able to wrap up Mucho's head in his legs and basically just choking him out. Mucho was able to lift Takemichi. Takemichi would actually just grab Mucho's head with a little movement against his arms and stab Mucho right in the eye, or jab him in the eye. That keeps basically choking at Mucho's legs, and eventually Mucho would pass out. Sanzu had heard a loud thud and barged in, grabbing Mucho, and beating up Takemichi half to death. Eventually Takemichi on the ground, coughing up blood. And with this, Takemichi is eventually freed by Koko, who said that he'd join. And, everything goes the same again, up until Emma's death. Now, when when Kizaki tries to basically kill Emma, well, everything goes the same up until Kizaki would drive his bike right at Takemichi and Emma. Takemichi happened to be more or less driving moving his motorcycles to somewhere else where they can drive normally. You see how she has a habit of riding a lot. As the bat swung, Takemichi realizes that the bat's not going for him. He uses the bat mainly in fights if he gets one. He doesn't going for Emma. So immediately he jumps away, and the hit goes to Takemichi's neck, not really Emma's head. As Takemichi would fall to the ground, they try to circle back, but Mikey had heard Emma scream, and we see Mikey running through the alley. Suddenly, Kizaki's kicked right over off the bike, and Mikey sees Takemichi on the ground with blood coming out of his mouth and nose. Mikey, refusing to let someone else die, especially someone who resembles Shinichiro so much, attacks Kizaki and Hanma, almost killing them both. But then him and Emma bring Takemichi to the hospital. They show that Takemichi is just unconscious, but it may be a little too much for him to move right now. So yeah. Now eventually Takemichi does wake up. He's kind of in the bathroom just trying to get his body cleaned. He's still covered in blood a bit. He's washing his body. Well, Mikey basically left to go consult Toman about Takemichi, and Emma and Hina are in the hospital. Hina happened to go in Takemichi's room, When suddenly they hear loud gunshots, and they run out of the bathroom. Takemichi runs out of the bathroom, only wearing pants. He barges right into the lobby, seeing Emma on the ground, covered in blood, and he sees Kizaki running away. Takemichi's jaw drops, seeing Emma dead on the ground, covered in bullet wounds. Takemichi immediately picks up Emma's body, bringing her to his hospital room, laying her down, and doctors and nurses barge in once Takemichi gets his clothes. With that, this leads to, this more leads to, Takemichi having to go tell Mikey what happened. Takemichi would eventually get on his bike, driving off with Hina with him. They arrive at the meeting. Takemichi would yell that Emma got shot by Kizaki. Mikey and Draken hear this and immediately rush to the hospital on their bikes. And the Tenjiku battle is soon, and they left. Immediately, Takemichi then says that he's going to lead them in the battle. And Baji and Kazutora, who are still actually alive. Well, sorry, Kazutora's not in juvie, Baji's alive, so is Pachin, who's not in juvie. Well, they more or less nominate Takemichi to lead them in battle. And with this, Takemichi then is able to more or less say he'll confidently lead them in the battle, and there'll be no faults. This is about Takemichi calling him a leader Takemichi. And Takemichi just tells the advisor Toman will lead them to victory. Thus they march to the battlefield, and we see Kizaki there, who's kind of sweating, but Takemichi stares him down. When suddenly we see Madarame step up. Before Payan can step in, we see Takemichi step up, saying he'll knock him out in one punch. Madarame says, You're a pretty popular guy who's reportedly stronger than Baji. Baji would laugh, saying, that guy's stronger than me? Ha! Suddenly, this actually is able to catch Madarame off guard when he suddenly punched right in the throat by Takemichi, and Madarame falls around, coughing and wheezing for air. So he passes out, and Takemichi would stomp on his head, saying, alright, he let down his guard, give me someone else. Kakucho would step up, saying, alright, round 2 then. Suddenly, Pan would jump past Takemichi, slamming Kakucho right on the ground, saying, attack. Takemichi would laugh as he runs right at Kizaki, going in between people as fast as he could. Kizaki then is able to see Takemichi holding something. Takemichi, for his good, is going to live up to what he wants to do and kill Kizaki. Before Kizaki can pull his gun, he's stabbed right in the arm, and then headbutted into the ground. Now, Takemichi basically delivers the same kind of beatdown that Mikey gives him in the most recent chapters of Tokyo Revengers, and delivering that kind of beatdown leads to him basically beating Kizaki to death in the middle of the battlefield. By the time he's done, Takemichi will stand up and look at everyone else, pulling out Kizaki's gun, and pointing it right at Izuna. As Izuna's fighting off like Pachin and everyone else, so Izuna shot right in the leg, and Izuna will fall down to one foot as suddenly he's hit in the face by Pachin, who knocks him out immediately. It was mainly Pachin because Baji ended up getting caught by Mucho, then fought him. With that, Takemichi ends up being able to more or less bandage up the wound that Izuna has, and immediately calls the ambulance, saying that he doesn't know how long this would last, but it wasn't somewhere fatal. He knows that. But Toman is a lot more of a dominant force with the Black Dragons absorbed into them, and under Takemichi's rule. Plus, he's a very charismatic guy. So currently, Tenjiku and Toman are matched in numbers, but Toman wins due to them being overwhelming in power. The ambulance arrives, and Toman had all left, around 5 minutes before they got there officially. But with this, we more or less see Takemichi being put in. Well, he stays there because he had to keep pressure on Izuna's leg so he didn't die. And they asked about Kizaki, as Takemichi would say he didn't do that. It was just he got trampled over. So, they most believe that, but Takemichi does say that the guy had a gun and it misfired, hitting this guy in the leg. But due to Takemichi being involved in gang violence, he's arrested. Now, Mikey and Draken arrive as a little too late. By the time they arrive, Takemichi's being put in the police car, and the car drives away. Now, Hina, when she arrives at Draken's house, was her summoning her alongside Hina's parents. Hina's father asked Takemichi to break up with Hina, but he ignored him completely. He just walked right past him. Well, Hina's parents are with her, and they ask about Takemichi. They said Baji coming out crying with Kazutora, and they go over the whole they're crying because Takemichi's lost again. They hope he won't die in prison. But they go over the whole Tenjiku incident, and how Takemichi basically beat Kazutora to death, not Kazutora, but beat Kizaki to death, and then ended up shooting Izuna. And he's able to basically tell the cops that he didn't do a thing, and they believed him, but still he's arrested. And due to him being involved with an attempted murder and a actual murder, because he's not giving any names, he's going to serve 2 full years in juvie. Now Masato will not tell on Takemichi because Hina loves Takemichi. And well, with this, Toman's alerted that Takemichi has been arrested and will get served up to 2 years in juvie. So yeah. Pause real quick. So Takemichi's in juvie. He eventually ends up going and, he ends up like staying there for a while. Like it's give him like 2 weeks in there currently. And one new inmate that arrives is going to be Toronto South. When he arrives, well, he wants to beat up the big dog of the juvie just to prove his dominance. The big dog that he hears of is Takemichi Hanagaki. When he meets him, Takemichi isn't really anyone impressive. He's just some scrawny tall kid in a cell. South actually tells Takemichi to fight, but Takemichi says he's not interested in fight. But suddenly, South will try to punch Takemichi out of nowhere, but Takemichi would dodge, grabbing South by the face and slamming him on the ground. Now, South is able to kick Takemichi off of him, saying, "Oh, that wasn't impressive at all." But Takemichi just turns around, staring down some members of Tenjiku, being the Haitani brothers, Izuna, who's not dead. Kizaki's dead, but we see Hanma, Izuna, Haitani brothers, Kakucho. Basically, all of the Heavenly Kings, just not Kizaki, because he's dead. Takemichi would smirk, saying that he has a lot more respect than he knows. This more or less leads to him jumping right at South, who goes for a punch. But South ends up missing, when suddenly Kakusho will grab South from behind, and South is kicked right in the groin by Takemichi. Then Izuna will jump in, basically doing a spinning kick in the midair, and hitting South right in the jaw, knocking him out completely. That South basically stripped all of his clothes, put in Takemichi's cell, and almost beat to death. Then Takemichi would walk out, saying that he's the new leader of Tenjiku, and there's nothing South can do to him that will not lead to him being almost murdered, or being murdered. So yeah, now mentions Takemichi gets a visit, and that visit is Hino's family. As Hino brought Naoto along, just so the handshake thing. Takemichi just know this, and they're allowed to be somewhat physical. She shakes hands with Naoto before they leave. Takemichi would then end up going back to the present. In the present, well, he notices a few tattoos on his body, a few of them. There's one on his back that's the shape of a giant dragon. Takemichi's also actually pretty buff, and it has a few scars that are from South, actually. He was also going to fight almost daily in prison. It's just Takemichi didn't rely on anyone else after that one time almost killed him. And South ends up falling for a lot of Takemichi's fighting tricks. Like if South is in a certain stance, Takemichi would kick his leg out from under, then kick him in the face, or in the groin. So, yeah. Takemichi's a very tricky fighter, that's really it. But still nowhere near any of the captains at all. Like, yeah, he has a lot more willpower, which originally would win because he's a shonen protagonist, but still. But let's move on to Takemichi having the same thing. It's just he asked Takemichi if he just came back. And he says first thing he knew, he was in juvie. Next thing he knows, he's at a wedding. Now, Draken had overheard this, can't help but laugh, saying, "So you just came back, huh?" If you overheard that, saying, "This is a really bad time, Hanagaki, right? But you know that, Hanagaki, it's a really bad time, right?" You nodded, saying, "Yeah, is that Pachin's wedding?" This he had sighed, asking how long it's been, and Hino says, a few weeks late, but he postponed it to Draken's request. Draken said, "Yeah, lucky. I'm able to tell the difference between adult Hanagaki and like bot Hanagaki." Takemichi can't help but laugh at that, but yeah, pause. So Takemichi kind of has everything the same, like everything happens the same way, I guess. But Takemichi still investigates where Mikey is, because he's able to tell by Draken and everyone's reaction to him asking where Mikey is. He's able to tell that they're lying when they say he's overseas. Then eventually Takemichi does actually find Mikey, and Sanzu just putting it on Takemichi's head, but Takemichi just like swiftly hits him right in the nuts, and Sanzu falls to his knees, and Takemichi just knocks him out from there on. And Takemichi picks up the gun, putting it in his pocket, and tells Mikey, my wedding's in 3 days. Please be there. By the way, the time capsule thing, that's very important. Akun put something in there for Takemichi, so when they did the whole time capsule thing, people there would be Akun Takemichi, alongside Kazutora and Baji. And Pachin. So, yeah. Like, they were there when they put it in, they were there. Well, Takemichi wasn't there, but everyone else was there when they put it in. Now Takemichi joined them when they undug it, or unearthed it. Mikey still shoots Takemichi 3 times, but Mikey is a lot more hurt by doing it. Takemichi isn't, like, he's not falling down from this, like, yeah, it hurts, but he refuses to fall from that. Usually Mikey makes his way through for to jump off. Takemichi just feels his presence, so he's actually waiting down here, not presence, but he feels his emotion coming from Mikey. So he waits down here, the last bit of his life still in hand. As Mikey had jumped, he's able to grab Mikey by the wrist, and Mikey is slipping, but Takemichi is able to grab his hand, and then he travels back in time. And everything goes the same again, but Draken still knows Takemichi and everything. And like at this point, Takemichi had recently gotten out of juvie, like recently. So, yeah. At this point, Takemichi realizes that he got the tattoo on his back in prison because he sees it. Well, he's kind of buff now, so it's pretty impressive. Like he's like Draken levels above. Like him and Draken are basically the same physique and everything. Plus, Takemichi's hair is about as long as Draken's now. So, yeah. But he cuts it to the style he likes. And then he goes to school. In school, everyone gives him an insane amount of respect, bowing down, yelling, "Congrats on your release, Big Boss Takemichi." Because Toman was disbanded. He was told of this by Hina and her father. But eventually, well, he ends up he still goes with Draken, like he hangs out with him, and then we go to see like the whole South against like Draken and everything. But South is more or less going to calm down because he has a few scars, luckily from Takemichi. Plus, the ability was lost of him having kids from a few nut kicks. So, yeah. When Draken had just said that South's best friend had arrived, South was a little confused when immediately Kakucho would get on his knees and Tom his head on the ground, and so did Madarame. Then immediately most of Rokuhara Tandai did as well. Takemichi just smiled, saying, "Hey South, it's been a long time, huh?" South immediately just sat back, saying, "Hanagaki." Takemichi immediately dashed at South, hitting him right in the face as hard as he could, sending South flying back. Takemichi basically mumbled to himself, saying, "Wow, I am fast and powerful." South began trading blows, and suddenly South was pushed back a lot more. And this leaves like Brahmin baffled. Like Rokuhara's bowing down to Takemichi. Takemichi just yelled, "He's the king of Tenjiku, king of Toman, and the leader of Black Dragons." Do something about it. And Takemichi had said from now on, he's known as the Black Dragon of Toman, and Takemichi Nagaki, and he dares South to come at him again. This gave himself tons of titles in that split moment. But seeing the Black Dragon on his back, and we'll seeing the resemblance to Shinichiro that he bears, immediately Takeyomi, Wakasa, and Benkei, pretty sure that's his name, or Benhei, Arashi, Takeyomi, and Wakasa bow down to Takemichi. And with that, they basically say, if he leaves like dragons currently, then we should bow down. Suddenly, South began rushing Takemichi again. Suddenly, two fists collide with his chest, sending him flying back. We then see Taiju on a motorcycle, and we see Hakai standing by. Hakai just said, if we got here any later, he might have trucked over Takemichi. Takemichi put on a shirt saying, "Yeah, you're right." Immediately, he grabbed the Tiny Brothers by their shirts, and then told everyone else that was in Tenjiku to stand up. Then they do just that and line up, getting slapped left and right by Takemichi. Kakucho is given a pass because he didn't want to join, it was just he had his ass beat. So did everyone else, but they wanted to join regardless. Then Takemichi had said that from now on, he'll be taking over Rokuhara Tandai unless they want to disband. He's also stopped not wanting to deal with Takemichi anymore because Takemichi gave him a lot of trouble in prison, and now not wanting to deal with it again, says he'll disband Rokuhara Tandai. Takemichi nodded, saying, "Good." And so the Brahmin, looking at the three bowing down to him, ask who they are. They say that they are they're Wakasa, Arashi, and Takeyomi. And they say that they're founding members, but they're like in the first generation of Black Dragons, where Shinichiro Sano is prominent. Takemichi immediately bowed down, saying that they're his superiors and that he should be bowing to them. But he's the 11th generation Black Dragon leader. It was just he was locked up for 2 years up until now, which made them laugh, saying, so you're basically more violent than Shinichiro. Draken had said, really, he should have gone straight to prison after, but he was able to fool the cops. Someone did something really bad and he killed them for it. It was just he was able to convince them that he didn't do it. Takemichi then pulls out his phone, saying he's going to make a call real quick, and he calls Izuna, who arrives. Izuna hears what Kakucho did and beats the hell out of him for it. And Takemichi also reveals he shot Izuna, but him and Izuna are pretty cool though. So yeah. But with this, we can more or less go on to just everything going the same. Like Takemichi and Senju are still really good friends. But Takemichi and Hina, well, just Takemichi being in prison for 2 years, Hina and him kind of broke up for a bit. Because, well, Hina couldn't always visit him, and her father wasn't really too keen on her dating a jailbird, so, yeah. So when Takemichi saw Senju changing, well, he kind of blushed, kind of forgetting he was dating someone, and Senju actually knew he wasn't dating anyone, so he began flirting with him a bit, not realizing that he didn't know he wasn't dating Hina anymore. He thought that she was mad at him for some reason, but, yeah. Takemichi and Senju eventually do get flirty when they realize that Hina had broken up with him. He checked his phone when Senju wasn't looking and realized that him and Hina had broken up over text. Which was pretty hurtful, but, well, we kind of gave in to Senju out of just sheer depression. And him and Senju did do some words I cannot say on YouTube in a stall. So, yeah. Which eventually we kind of go on to like the day that Takemichi is but Senju's ambushed by some members of Rokara Tandai, and 3 bullets are fired. But Takemichi immediately would dash in, grabbing Senju, pulling her out of the way as he still did see the future. But when he sees a figure about to jump in from the bullets, Takemichi grabbed the figure, throwing them into a concession stand. And Draken realized that Takemichi had thrown Senju out of the way and thrown him out of the way at the same time. Takemichi fell to one knee, holding his leg. Draken had seen a bullet. It grazed him pretty deeply, but still, it wasn't going to kill him. Takemichi stood up and looked and stared down the shooters. Before they can even reload again, well, not reload again, they don't need to reload. Takemichi picked up a giant rock, throwing it at one of their heads, hitting the guy right there, then dashed towards them, basically doing a very swift double kick, knocking both of them out. He lands. At this point, I compare Kiyomasa, but compare Takemichi to, like, I'd say, like, not like Taiju or Draken or anyone kind of level like that, but I say I like compare him to maybe Hakai, maybe. So, yeah. But eventually Takemichi is able to somewhat, like Rokuro Tandai or someone will arrive, and they're here on orders to kill Takemichi. We see Brahmin arrives with Takayomi, but then, well, the rest of the Black Dragons arrive. The old ones do. Then we see new ones arrive, and we see Draken basically just put on a jacket, revealing he's in Brahmin. Takemichi just says that he's going to sit here for a bit while they fight. He's able to somewhat like just basically help his leg a bit. And with this, well, we more or less just see Takemichi stand up after a bit once Mikey arrives, and immediately when he steps up, everyone separates, letting Takemichi and Mikey stare each other down. Sanzu steps in front of Takemichi, saying, "Now who the hell are you staring at, you bastard?" Response Takemichi would look at Sanzu, like right in his eyes. And he hates Sanzu from the start, just from Sanzu. Well, he didn't hate him from the start. When he was adult, he hated Sanzu a lot. When he was being taunting Takemichi, he dug his fingers right into Sanzu's eyes, tearing them out. Saw that, Sanzu would fall to his knees, crying and screaming in pain. Takemichi just stomped on his head, saying that he cannot believe someone as horrible as him is related to Senju and Takeyomi. He picked up the pipe that Sanzu was holding, pointing at Mikey, saying he'll beat some sense into him now. He dashed right through most members of not Rokahara, but most members of the Kantomanji gang, and sent Mikey began clashing fists. Takemichi physically is a monster, but only in skill he rivals Akai. Speed and strength he surpasses Akai, maybe even rivaling Taiju. Because in prison he worked out, well in Juvie, he worked out a lot just so South wouldn't beat the hell out of him. So he's basically the strongest South beat the hell out of him daily, or tried to. Well, no, South did. Just Takemichi had so much endurance. South had just lost. South had just lost just sheer endurance and speed. That's about it. But yeah, Takemichi and Mikey began swapping blows. As in spite Takemichi kind of evolving. As him and Mikey keep punching each other, Mikey eventually would be the winner in endurance and strength. But as Mikey being finally beat on Takemichi, well, Takemichi's arm isn't broken, so Mikey would go for a punch. Takemichi's able to somewhat catch it. And instead, Mikey's arm is broken by Takemichi. The Draken would then jump in, kicking Mikey in the gut, sending him flying back. As Mikey steps forward a bit again, trying to fight them, Takemichi would suddenly elbow Mikey in the ribs, sending him flying to a wall. Richard just grabbed Mikey by the shirt and just began pounding his face over and over and over to the point where the walls were being splattered in blood. By the time he's done, he would throw Mikey to the side, saying that he's willing to kill everyone else in Kantomanji gang, just so Mikey can live peacefully and away from gangs. There's the rest of them, hitting them in the face with pipes, until he gets to Coco, who immediately just bows down, shaking in fear. Suddenly Isan will stomp on his head, saying that Coco is a disgrace. Now with that, Rokahara and Kantomanji are defeated right then and there. Takemichi had gained control of Brahmin. Mikey gotten up, being barely able to stay conscious, and suddenly the ambulance had arrived, arresting... ambulance didn't arrest anyone, cops did. But the last one, the only people there were Takemichi and Mikey. But Takemichi didn't have any evidence of being in a fight. They actually cleaned him off before they got there, and Takemichi said he was a victim, then people arrived to save him, then they left. The cops believe Takemichi because he was a genuinely good person, it was just he's not a snitch. That's about it. He's a good kid, it's just he doesn't snitch on anyone. The cops knew that. They thought they did. And with this, his leg is patched up. And with that, this more or less would end Tokyo Revengers, because Mikey got the shit kicked out of him, and now he's in juvie. So, yeah. But eventually with this, when Mikey does get out of juvie, well, Takemichi's the one to pick him up, and Mikey wants to fight Takemichi properly again. But Takemichi had been training Mikey's grandfather, and Baji. With that, he's actually able to somewhat beat Mikey in the next time they fight. And, well, this ends Tokyo Revengers. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, comment for another part, or another video. There's no more part to this video, it's over. But, I guess goodbye.